Sometimes people ask, well, how did you become a scientist? And I think really it was because when I was very young, maybe 6 years old, my mum gave me a little album whereby you had to tear out sort of stamps and stick them in. And these stamps weren't of flags of the nations or sportsmen or anything like that. They were actually fossils, extinct organisms. And something just sort of triggered my interest. I became more and more interested in fossils when I was a boy. My parents, especially my mother, was very patient, would take us on camping trips down to the Dorset coast. I was absolutely hopeless at finding fossils, but I became fascinated in what we now call paleontology and palaeobiology. And I did moderately well at school in the end, and went to Bristol University, where I wanted to do geology because I think that's part and parcel of becoming a paleontologist. Then came to Cambridge and then worked on some remarkable fossils. So probably in hindsight, it looks like a pretty steady trajectory. I never worried that I was making the wrong decision. I had a sort of intuition that when I came to Cambridge, there were some fossils I was looking at, which would turn out to be quite important. They were very important, or perhaps still are. Most of the things I did were actually wrong. They were misinterpretations, but that doesn't matter. One learnt, if you like, not humility so much as, but the realization that you think you've got a wonderful idea, it all makes sense, and a few years later a new discovery turns up and blow me down. It's not necessarily totally wrong, but it needs radical modification. So as a scientist, I've become increasingly interested in some more general problems, and perhaps in a way that sort of segues into the question of how one has any sort of religious faith. But broadly speaking, if you like, there are a number of sort of options on the table. One could become a Muslim, one could become a Buddhist, one could become an atheist. After all, atheists have a certain sort of faith that the world is as they believe it to be. And we should always remind ourselves, just as in science, atheists may just be right. I don't think they are, but one needs to be aware that there are possibilities that we are at fault, if you like. So in a nutshell, I've found in my life that really it's a question simply of increasing curiosity. How is the world arranged as it is? Why do people believe certain things? Or why, more particularly, where I think the evidence is staring me in the face, to other people, they just don't see it. Am I the blind one, or are they?